talked about this, Shiva. One thing, being a behavioral expert, right? What is one thing I wanted to really understand in this today's world? The coaching, mentoring, and grooming, giving right feedback to different people, and all of this, right, has become an integrated part of the first line managers and second line managers' job, right? And people really overlook this, right? They just give feedback just like that and say, and there is always been a surprise for a lot of people at the end of the appraisals, right? People just call at the appraisals and say, this was the feedback and this is your rating. But a lot of people will get surprised and say, so how do we manage all of that? And today's session, I wanted to be more focused on giving feedback. How do we give feedback, and why feedback is important, and what are the various techniques we can apply, or probably how to handle difficult employees where we need to definitely give a feedback to them. To start with, we will talk about why feedback and it is really important, and why we should not be overlooking that.
Sure, I think it's an excellent topic that you've chosen. Feedback is an extremely critical skill for managers. First line, second line, top line, everywhere.
Right.
And I think most feared technique or skill as well. And when I'm saying feared, both the manager and the receiver of the feedback are scared.
Right.
So the entire process of giving and receiving feedback has become such a terrible thing in corporates.
Okay.
And I think it really requires a lot of attention and focus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, give me a few minutes. I'll set the context for this, because many times what happens is we look at management in isolated concepts.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about feedback, we're talking about feedback alone, but it's part of an integrated whole.
Right.
And we need to understand the integrated whole, right? So let me start with this word performance, because feedback comes only in the context of performance. And many times in my programs with senior managers, I ask them, what is the meaning of the word perform? And it's interesting to see the various kinds of definitions that happen around this word. I have a very simple way of saying it. It's just per form.
Right.
Is it as per a form?
Okay.
So which means, do you have a form? The form should have stated the expectation.
Right.
Now when a person does an activity, please go and check it against the form. Is it as per the form?
Beautiful.
Yes, it is. Now you tell the person, you've achieved, you did not achieve. Now, without a form, going and telling a person you did not meet my expectation,
right,
is where the biggest challenge is.
Right.
So I think it comes from the context of understanding what is performance. Right? Now when you talk about feedback, and I think the word feedback also needs to be understood in its own cultural context as well.
Right.
Now, simply from the word feed means to nourish. Feed is to help a child grow. You're not going to go and feed ice cream to a child.
Right.
You're probably going to go and feed vegetables or something that the child needs.
Correct. True.
Now, that's a big challenge in feedback, because do you give what the child needs or what the child wants?
Exactly.
Right. Now, the employee needs the feedback. He may not necessarily want the feedback.
Yeah.
Now, that's where feedback becomes tricky. Now, the manager thinks I should give this. And the employee thinks, why the hell are you even talking about this to me?
Right.
I think that's the gap. Now, so from the word feedback itself, it's only to grow, it is only to nourish, it is only to encourage.
Right. And most of the times it's like when they really need it, then you're going to give it, right? Which means, like, if you're going to give something for free and people are not going to take it up, right? The value of the things is going to really reduce. That's the way I see it. So
no, true, absolutely true. See, in fact, the same context I was thinking about it. My daughter goes for dance class.
Right.
Now, if I want to learn about, let's say, the 108 poses of Shiva, Dr. Padma Subramaniam has done it beautifully on YouTube. Now, I don't need to go to a teacher and get her trained.
Right.
If I want to learn the Pandanalu style of Bharatanatyam, I go to YouTube, I see Meenakshi Chittaranjan and I watch. Now, why go for a dance class? Why should I pay a dance teacher? Why go for a karate coaching class when Bruce Lee is teaching it on YouTube? Right. Then I realized the only thing that I'm paying for is feedback.
Yeah, true.
See, now when my daughter does a step, is she doing it correctly or not? The YouTube person is not going to tell.
Right.
But that poor teacher who's there is going to give feedback.
Yeah.
Right? So in all of the coaching context that we're describing, I'm paying for feedback.
Yeah, true.
The only place where feedback is free is corporate.
Corporate. Absolutely true. Yeah.
The manager calls and says, come, I'll give you feedback. And like you said, because it is free, it's not valued.
Yeah.
Otherwise, for example, for me to go to a senior person who has experience in that area and learn is the best thing that can happen. Now,